Bobby the Bear was bouncing on the bed. Bobby the Bear had to be the best at everything. Today he was trying to show off that he could jump higher than Freddy Frog. That's what's going to happen in the first page of my storybook. What's going to happen in my book? Well, he's going out that window, and all the other toys are going to go and have to rescue him. I'm nicking the idea from Toy Story. Anyway, that's the page I'm going to start drawing. You need to decide who's drawing which page in your storybook in a second when we pause the video. When everyone in your team knows what page they're drawing, it could be the broccoli just about to parachute out the aeroplane, or it could be the pencil that's fallen off the table in your story and about to roll under the teacher's desk. Whatever your page is, you're going to draw me a bunch of different layouts of it in today's lesson. Right. I am going to teach you some stuff, but before I do, I'm going to get you to do your first page layout. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a title on the top of the page. That title is going to be Design Ideas. There you go, Design Ideas. And you're also going to put today's date. Go on, do that now, and we'll just pause the video. Right, welcome back. So, our first drawing then. How big do I want you to do these drawings? Well, I think we should get at least 3 of these different layouts that we're going to do for your book page on a page. So start off by drawing maybe 3 of these light rectangles on a page in your book. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have a go at drawing the first layout of your page. So here's my first idea for what the page might look like. Top tip number 2 is what I want you to do is draw very lightly. So I drew the whole of this image really lightly, and then I just went around the outside of the main objects like the window, the bear, and Bobby the bear, the bed, and Bobby the bear, just a little bit darker around the outside. And I've left some of the other items nice and light, the toys on the floor. Doing a mixture of light and dark lines makes your drawing look that much more sophisticated. Right. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do your first drawing. We're going to pause the video in a second. I'm going to do a few minutes to do the first idea for the layout of your page. If you finish before everyone else on your table, what I suggest you do is start to annotate and try to evaluate the good and bad things about this idea before I teach you some graphic design tricks in a minute. What is the good and bad points of this idea of Bobby the bear bouncing on the bed? We know he's going to go out the window, all right? I think I can spot some problems with this already. What I want you to do is see if you can spot anything you could improve on yours. Right, so we're going to pause the video here, and you're going to have a go at your first drawing, and then we'll come back to learn something. Okay, pause now. Right, my time to teach you something. Get yourself comfortable. If you're sitting quietly, then I'll begin. Right, so I've got 3 graphic design rules I'm going to teach you today. And these, if we apply them to your book page, I think will make them look that little bit more realistic, that little bit more sophisticated. So here we go. Number 1. Number 1's called, have a look at that word up there, visual hierarchy. Okay, it's an awful word to read that, but it's visual hierarchy. Well, we know what visual means, that's things to look at, but what does hierarchy mean? Well, hierarchy means order of importance. So I guess in this country we have a hierarchy of importance when it comes to people. So at the top of the hierarchy we have the Queen, and at the bottom of the hierarchy in this country we have people that dress their dogs in human clothes. Okay, and the rest of us, we're somewhere in between. Okay, so hierarchy is the order of importance. So visual hierarchy is making sure the right thing stands out on the page. Let's have a look at these 2 pages. Hissing Sid finally found the house. Well, I think we all know which is the best layout here. The one on the left, Hissing Sid looks like he's miles away in the distance. Okay, if I'm talking about Hissing Sid finding a house, those should be the big things on the page. On the left, we've got a post box for some reason. If that's not part of the story, it should still be there, but it shouldn't stand out. Right. I bet before we go on, right, Mr. Jones has invented his own graphic design rule, okay? And I bet none of you have done this. I bet none of you have gone full Frosties with your first page. What do I mean by that? Well, if you have a look at Tony the Tiger, yeah, that's his name. His name's Tony. If you have a look at Tony the Tiger on these Frosties boxes, do you notice you can't see the whole of the tiger? In fact, it would look really weird if there was a whole tiger stood up behind that bowl of cornflakes. He would look tiny, and we need that tiger to stand out on the page. So when I'm pushing my trolley down the aisle, I'm aware of this tiger right next to my face, and I turn and have a look at it. So it's supposed to grab my attention. All right. So have any of you gone full Frosties? There's no reason I had to draw the whole of the snake on this page. I could have just done his head and shoulder. Do snakes have shoulders? I could have just done his head and neck sticking up in the corner, so he felt like he was really close to the camera. Have a go at perhaps going full Frosties with your next drawing. Right, so that's the first rule, make the right thing stand out on the page. And the main way to do that is with size. Right, second rule, the rule of thirds. This is my favourite. Have a look at this grid that's on top of these photos. You can turn this grid on your phone when you're taking photos. It might be turned on your phones. But let's have a look at these two photos. There is a graphic design rule that your photo will look more sophisticated if the object that you're taking a picture of, in this case, the seagull with a crab in its mouth, okay, is placed on one of these lines. They call them the third lines. This is the rule of thirds. So the photo on the left is a pretty good photo. Look, you managed to take a photo of a seagull flying fast past you. But the one on the right just looks that little bit more sophisticated because of where the seagull is placed in the photo. On the left, it's like a quick snapshot that you might send on WhatsApp to your granny. Look what I've just seen. On the right, that would be more like a photo you'd see in a calendar of crab deaths. Okay, I don't know what the calendar will be of, but it just looks a little bit better. I think most of you probably drew your character slap bang in the middle of the page. Perhaps on your next drawing, or the one after that, when you've played with hierarchy, perhaps you could have a go at rule of thirds, trying to put your character on the rule of thirds. Right. Oh, and next time you take a photo of your mate on your phone, see if you can get them on the rule of thirds, see if your photo looks any better. Right. There we go. Here's an example of the rule of thirds. Once you've learned that rule, you'll spot them all over the place being used. The last rule for today is about using colours. So we'll probably not get a chance to do any adding colour to your drawing today. What we'll do is perhaps do that next time. But let's just have a look at these high contrast and low contrast colours. So contrast is the difference between two things. So high contrast colours, like this house, is yellow, standing out on the blue background. Those are very different colours. The high contrast makes the house stand out, and that's what I wanted. It helps with the visual hierarchy. Sometimes, though, I want to use low contrast colours. Let's have a look at the cloud, the birds, and the sky. Here, the person or the designer has used low contrast colours. They're all basically the same colour, aren't they? Just lighter and darker versions of the same colour. So they're very similar. Why would you do that? Well, we don't want those images to really stand out. They're supposed to be in the background. If that cloud was bright white, then it would probably stand out more than anything else on that page. But we want some things to blend in the background. I guess we could put nothing in the sky, so nothing stood out that we didn't want to, but I think the picture would start looking a bit boring if we just took everything away. So it might be that you put some things in the background of your layout, knowing that you're going to use low contrast colours to make them disappear into the background. Okay, so I have whizzed through these rules very quickly. All right, so look, there you go. There's some examples of some low contrast colours. Look at the book of The Adventures of Amelia and Her Magic Name. You can see in the background the trees and the branches and the trunks of the trees and the sky are all the similar colour, bluey green, whereas Amelia and her wizard friend there and the house stand out from them. So look, I've gone through those rules really quickly. They are in your knowledge organiser, so if you think I didn't get all that, have a look in your knowledge organiser, and that will remind you. Right. Oh, what we're going to do now? Well, you're going to go on and do version 2 and 3 and 4 today of the same page. So you're designing the same page, you're just trying different layouts. So here's my second attempt at doing that page layout. Look at Bobby the Bear. He is actually now bouncing on the bed. In my original picture, it didn't look like he was bouncing on the bed. Okay. His face is on the rule of thirds, so I've got him on the rule of thirds a bit. I've brought the window a bit closer, and I'm going to draw it open, because I think the window on my first one was a little bit too far away from the bed. Okay, but I've really zoomed in on the picture. I didn't need to see the whole room. Right, so and I actually think the way I've got a weird angle there, I think it actually makes it look more interesting. So you can see it's the same page in my book, but it looks very different. Right, ladies and gents, your job then is to have a go at doing a second layout, label it, annotate it, why is it better, which of the rules have you used, and then do a third and fourth today. If you get to a fourth and you're like, I think I'm done, I know one of these is the best, perhaps add some colour to the best one, remembering high and low contrast colours. Right, good luck with that, and I look forward to seeing that when I get back. Off you go.